All right, you guys, I have the period party girl with me, another Chloe in the room. I'm super excited to talk with Chloe today. She is an amazing Instagram influencer in the realm of amenorrhea recovery and getting your period back. And Chloe and I are doing a little masterclass this summer together. And so I'm excited to dive into the masterclass and what we're going to be doing together. And then also, I'm excited to be diving into amenorrhea recovery and everything that you've like been through in your journey. So, welcome to the show, Chloe.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's very exciting and a very nice intro, actually. Especially, I think I've spoken to you a bit about it before. You know, when like you don't really, sometimes you have those moments in the Instagram space that you're like, okay, like, what's my message? Like, am I showing up how I want to show up? And actually, you've just given me a little boost. So thank you.
Oh, no, I actually really love your content. You ask a lot of questions, like you do little question boxes all the time. And I think that that's really brilliant because it engages your community a lot. So the girls are getting the questions that they have answered. And I think it's like really fun. Even though I don't have amenorrhea anymore, I every once in a while go on and I'm like, how is she talking about this stuff? It's really fun. So I'm excited to get your perspective of amenorrhea and your own experience with it. If we can dive into your journey for a little bit. This whole podcast isn't going to be about your journey for those of you who are like, okay, I've heard journeys before, but I think it's nice to start there because it kind of evens out the playing field. I'm just a human being who is going through what you're going through. So where did it all start for you? Like, why, looking back, did you lose your period in the first place?
Yes, I'll try and keep it very top line. So I was in a really toxic relationship. He basically turned around to me and said, I don't want to be with a slob anymore, which was my sign, and basically him telling me to do something about it. And as a bit of a type A personality, when I decide that I'm going to do something, I do it. And I just started running, started going to the gym to in a pursuit to be good enough for someone that wasn't right for me anyway. Like that should have been my sign to just turn and run, but you know how it is. We
But
have to go through these things.
that's really important though to note because especially, when we're talking about health and stuff, it's like you can either eat a salad out of the intention of I'm not good enough, I need to lose weight, my body is bad, or you can eat a salad out of it just seems really good and tasty and it feels imbalanced to me right now, right? So it's never the action. That's why when people come to me, they're like, but it's fine. I'm just eating what other people are eating. I'm like, but your intention behind eating that way is filled with stress and anxiety and I'm not good enough and perfectionism. So I'm glad you just even right there really pinpointed a big point for a lot of people, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think like in the fitness industry, we're very much taught. So I'm a personal trainer background as well. So after just quick update. So after that relationship, I trained to be a personal trainer. I went down all like disordered eating routes. I was under eating, I was under fueling, training ridiculous amounts, and was a typical sort of like girl that would train loads and eat loads of salads and juice diets and things like that. It was very much like I even went vegan for a bit. It was like in the pursuit of health that I actually developed like a little bit of orthorexia. But like it's really like a really good point that you mentioned is that in the fitness industry, especially now at the minute, we've seen that huge rise of calorie counting. So, like in versus out, and also like making sure you're getting all your vitamins and minerals. And people are totally forgetting that actually our perception of things and our intention of things and how our brain perceives things and how we're feeling things will have just as much input as what the food type it actually is. So, for example, if you are consuming a salad and you are actually like genuinely loving it because it's a baking hot day and it's full of like loads of different vitamins and minerals and you've got a really nice dressing on and there's good fats in there, so you know you're going to be full for long, that's completely different. And your body will like use that energy completely different to if you're eating exactly the same salad but because you feel like you have to. And I think that's what I really struggle with explaining that on Instagram is like it might not necessarily be the fact that you're not eating enough. It's the fact that you hate yourself while you're
Yeah.
trying. to
Yeah.
eat, if that makes sense.
No, and I hope that everyone really listened to that part. And if you kind of zoned out for a little bit, definitely rewind here, because that's actually like the foundation of the work that I do. People come to me and they're like, oh, you're a therapeutic nutrition counselor. You study dynamic eating psychology. Like, give me a meal plan for my recovery. And I'm like, I won't give you a meal plan. I won't tell you what to eat ever, but I will help you understand that the person you are bringing to the table is like what we need to really shift and change. So it's not really even about, I mean, yes, we need to make some shifts and changes to our diet. Like if you're just eating a bunch of rice cakes and broccoli, we're not going to get your period back. But a big part of the journey is, who am I as an eater? What is my relationship to food and to my body? And I mean, because you could be eating like the healthiest food in the world. Like, let's say you really got down your nutrition and your macros and all of that, right? But if you are igniting the stress response every single time you eat, like that food is being rendered useless. I mean, your digestive system can literally be shut down up to 75% just in a classic normal stress response. And a stress response can come from your thoughts and thinking, I'm really bad for eating that donut last night, so I need to eat this. And now your body's not even absorbing any of the nutrients. So that was the biggest key that I think I learned in my journey, because I really wanted to be healthy. It was kind of like you. I was like, I desire to be healthy. I want to like get like feel better, right? But I thought it was all about the list of things, and I didn't focus on my energy and how like who I am really impacts my health.
Yeah, 100%. I often say to people, it's not your food, it's you. Like, if you can change your perception of yourself and work on your own confidence and work on how, yeah, knowing what you bring to the table, your food will also naturally, in a way where obviously we still have to do some elements of education and guidance through that. But at the end of the day, like, the food isn't the problem. It's how you perceive yourself and your relationship with the food that we need to sort out first before you're then open-minded enough to be able to understand the education. So we could teach you till the cows come home that, you know, you need to be eating carbohydrates, you need to be eating fats, you need to be fueling your body and all of this. But unless you've dealt with how you're feeling about yourself and your perception and why you eat the way you do first, that's going to be really difficult to change those things with the food.
So can I ask you here, as you kind of went on this journey, you know, your boyfriend called you a slob, and so then you're like, I'm just gonna start working out, eating clean, doing all of that. Um, did body image play into this?
Oh, 100%. I think what it came down to is the slob never came from him thinking that I just like chilled on the sofa, which could be a definition of a slob, if you like. A slob, he meant that my body wasn't desirable to him. So, and also that's how I perceived it. So then what happens is I then went on this pursuit to change my body. And don't get me wrong, like the first few months and when I lost loads of weight, like I did feel a lot more confident. The exercise was making me feel better. The weight loss was making me, people were commenting. But the problem is because I didn't like who I was and because I wasn't doing it for the right reasons, it was never good enough. And it was never gonna be good enough. So like the more weight I lost, the more I felt I needed to change my body. So I might have got down to a goal weight, if you like, but actually I still looked at myself and hated myself. And I still looked at my body and picked my body apart. So then you think, okay, I need to eat less and I need to move more. Again, never making that connection. It's always you that has to change. It's always you're the problem. Your food is the problem. Your exercise is the problem, rather than actually being like, okay, let's take a step back. Is the relationship the problem? Probably. But also, like, is my relationship with myself the problem? Yes.
Well, and I love that, because I feel like when we're lacking that self-love, when we're lacking that understanding of who we are and that like sense of like our value and all that, it's so easy to then just start overly nitpicking our body, thinking that, yeah, the
Yeah.
solution at that point is to just, I need to continue down this journey of obsessively exercising and dieting and losing weight, because you get to that goal weight and you're like, wait, I don't actually love myself. Hey guys, just a brief intermission here. I wanted to stop and talk about body image because it is something that I talk about with my clients and with the girls in my recovery community and in my course all of the time. So many girls come to me being like, I want recovery. I want to get my period back. I want to heal my metabolism. I want to just feel better. Like genuinely, they have that desire for themselves. But the number one thing that keeps on blocking them is body image. They are so fearful of their body shifting and changing, and they're afraid that they're going to step in a place of even more hate for their body and more hate for who they are. It is so sad to me that body image is the thing that prevents someone from going forward with recovery, because in the end of the day, recovery feels amazing and it will help with your body image. And so it's like you're fearful of taking that step because of the body image, but in reality, that step is going to eventually help you with your body image. There are some key things that Chloe and I learned throughout our journey of going through amenorrhea recovery that we are just so absolutely excited to teach you guys, because this is the type of stuff that we just really wish we understood and knew. I've always told people that I kind of wish that I could put them in my body, put them in my brain just for a day so that they could really understand recovery and really understand what it feels like to feel at peace in your body. And I think this masterclass is genius because we're going to kind of reverse engineer what we did to really feel comfortable in our body and have good body image days. And we're going to help you guys get to that same place so that you can reach for your goals of recovery, get that period back, and just literally close this chapter in your life. You guys have a lot to offer. I talk to you guys all the time. You're brilliant, beautiful, gorgeous human beings. Let's not let body image be the thing that blocks you from truly shining, truly being radiant, and doing what you truly want to do in life. So our masterclass Touchable is coming out August 4th through 5th. It's going to be a live co-led masterclass with me and Chloe Hodgkinson, and we are beyond excited to welcome you guys into this container to teach you all that we really know and understand about developing a deep sense of love and appreciation for your body, even in the midst of recovery with your body shape shifting. So again, that is August 4th through 5th. Recording is available for anyone who can't make it. We are going to have a community associated with this masterclass where Chloe and I will be in there answering a lot of your guys' questions. There are 2 live Q&As after each kind of big session day that we have. So if you have your questions, show up live. Chloe and I are going to help you process through some of your biggest challenges when it comes to truly loving and accepting your body. We are both super excited. We hope to see you guys there. There is a link down below for you guys to join. I'm going to sign off now so that we can listen to the rest of this amazing interview with Chloe Hodgkinson. But if you guys are wanting and craving more of this, click the link down below and we will see you August 4th through 5th. Where were we at here?
Yeah, so there's just on that as well is like we see like how much anxiety that we carry about ourselves and about our bodies and what do we need to change and how we're not good enough. But there's also that correlation between the anxious brain. So you're not fueling yourself enough, you're over exercising, you're under fueling. There's so much stress in the body, plus you're also spending so much time hating your thoughts, probably being in a relationship that you're hating as well, that's probably causing you a lot of stress. That is literally a recipe for severe anxiety. When you're in a state of hunger, your body is going to heighten your anxiety because it thinks it's in famine. We need to be alert. We need to be like, okay, where's the next piece of food? It's going to cause anxious thoughts within us. So, but then you've got the vicious circle of, okay, anxiety increases because I'm under fueling. But actually, when that anxiety peaks, because we're not in a world now though where we have to fight for our food and go hunting for our food isn't what we initially first think is the issue. We look at our outside world and we think, okay, what is the issue? And actually how our bodies look, especially in the way like society is with social media and all of the different types of media now, ourselves is what we become. We pinpoint, we are the problem, we're the reason why we're experiencing this anxiety, and where in our lives is it that we need to change to be able to be better. And then the vicious cycles, okay, maybe I need to restrict my food again, maybe I need to do this, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I need to change my hair, maybe I need to do this. And you can see how that like anxious cycle is so hard to get out of.
Yeah, and I think that anxious cycle leads to control. I think that's like a big part of
100%.
it, is that you go, I'm really anxious here. So what can I control? Like someone in my group, I have a recovery community. She the other day, we're like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, hey, yeah, I'm feeling good. I got like really stressed with work and stuff. So I noticed that I like doubled down back into calorie counting and back into like, having that perceived control. And it really is because that anxiety can feel so overwhelming that you're like, it needs to be controlled somehow, managed somehow. And we get the wrong idea that it's going to be managing our calories or managing and tracking our food, right? But that just kind of continues the circle. And yeah, it becomes this like vicious thing.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
So, first and foremost, this topic of body image is something that I think both you and I are like really kind of passionate about, because it does play a huge role in this. Because it's not just body image, like what does your body look like? It's how you perceive yourself, who you perceive yourself to be, how much self-love is there. Which I was going to add something actually to what you said before, but like the road defines the destination. So if we're like trying to get to this place of like loving your body by like hating your body, by starving and over exercising and everything, it's like it's never going to actually work. So we have to get to that place where we truly love ourselves, and we can work from there to find health, to find our balance, to find where we need to be. And that would have been the better option for you.
Just
But
on that as well, like just to continue on from that, I feel like we're going to be like this in our workshop. We're going to be like, yeah, and this and this and this. That as well, you've got to think about the society that we're brought up in, right? Like it is a masculine world that we live in, and often we are seeing that like the grind, the drive, the determination, the like do this, the goal setting and all of this is the thing that's going to get you places. Now in society that might work in some area, but when it actually comes to our body, if you're constantly driving and constantly being like hating on yourself, and we see this across like some of the motivational pages on Instagram, like are you like you just don't want it hard enough and things like that, it's such like hard energy that we think that actually when it comes to liking ourselves, we have to like fight to like ourselves, and we have to like fight to change our bodies, because when we change our bodies and when we hit the goal and when we've driven that's when everything's going to be okay. And actually what I found in my journey it was taking the foot off the gas that made me like myself more. It was that whole letting go and letting be and being like, okay, do you know what happens if I just stop trying to fight this? What happens if instead of fighting against my body and being in this like very masculine driven fitness world,
like how
what
I
happens if
my
I
goal is by
yeah, like which is what like so like a lot of like the fitness studies and stuff, a lot of that is all done by men. So you see like the 8-week programs, and like that is all based off studies done on men. And this is not hating men. I generally do love men, and I think they play such a key valuable role in society. But what I'm saying is I think there's the lines have been merged, and I think we can often get to a point where we think that we have to drive and really achieve our goals of self-love and body confidence and feeling good within ourselves, when actually probably just having a bit of fun and going a bit lighter on yourself is actually what's going to help get you there.
I absolutely love that, because I was having this conversation the other day with a client, and I told her, I was like, one of the best things I did in my recovery was I completely stopped any sort of like self-development work. And I know that sounds really weird, but like, hold on here for a second. So this client came to me and she's like, I have to wake up. I have to do my 30 minutes of breath work. And then I have to do my 3 pages of journal writing. And then I have to like do yoga. And then I have to eat this way. And it was so just like rigid. And it's a checklist, right? It's like a checklist of things I need to do to be perfect, to be on the road of self-development, to become better. And I feel like, self-development is great. And I love that we have tools like breath work and meditation and journaling and things like that to help us improve. But there comes a point, I feel like for a lot of us, so this may resonate for some people here, and I'm curious if it does for you, where that like desire for self-improvement comes from such a hatred towards ourselves. And I told her, I was like, the best thing I did was finally stop thinking I was wrong, stop thinking I needed to fix myself, so that I could just surrender and kind of relax into myself, into who I was. And then from there, natural shifts and changes and evolution of me could happen. But like I had so much pressure on myself. I need to change. I need to be better. I need to, and it was not just with my body image, right? It was with the self-development. It was the like who I am as a person. And I just remember letting go of all that stuff. And I finally just felt comfortable being the messy, imperfect version of me who didn't meditate in the morning. And I was like, wow, this feels a lot better. And so now I can go to those tools and I can use them in a really healthy way. But those tools I'm not using to like make me feel this false sense of I'm better. I'm like doing good, right? Because I did this. And I'll say this, just one last thing. I kind of correlate it to like when I grew up in a religion. And like, I really, one of the things that bothered me was I felt like everyone was just checking off things off this checklist. Whereas like, you got to pray to God, you got to read your scriptures 15 minutes a day, you got to pay your tithing 10%, you got to dress modestly, you got to do all these things. But like, I feel like people are so obsessed with the checklist that they forgot that the point of the checklist was to connect with God. And I was like, no, no, no. Most importantly, connect with God, have like this, relationship with God and like really focus on that. And maybe that looks like you don't read your scriptures daily, but you have a once a month, you go into nature and you really connect. And like, that's like, to me, that was more important and more relevant to me in my life because the checklist just seemed like another thing where it's just like, it's this fake facade and it's not true connection.
Oh my God. Yeah, you have literally just summed it up. And actually, you summed up how I was feeling maybe like a month ago, in that I used to be the person that journaled every single day and I was 100% that person. But then what would come with that is if I didn't do that one day, I would beat myself and tell myself I wasn't disciplined enough. I wasn't motivated enough. I didn't really want it. And like, how can I be really into wellness if I don't do it every day? And I remember changing journals. So I went from a daily journal that I made and I sold, to a journal that was just like a pick up when you need it and drop it. So there was no daily thing. And it has completely changed my life because, quite frankly, I don't want to do that every day. And even now, there are obviously, I know habits are important and things like that, but I think the habit in being flexible was like one of the most healing things that I was able to do. So, like, to let go of that control. Some days I won't take a supplement just to prove to myself that I don't need to do it every day.
Mm. That flexibility is true freedom. Like true control is not
Yeah.
freedom. You think it's freedom, it's not. The ability to step into any situation at any time and be able to be flexible, that's freedom. That's why recovery has been so great for me because because I'm not rigid about what I eat and when I train and how I train and all of these things, I'm able to travel. I'm leaving for a month and a half to go to Europe this summer. I'm able to like, I'm hosting my friend this weekend. We've just been like, going around on boats and eating out and doing all this stuff. Like, it's given me the freedom to be able to handle myself in any situation. When you have these rigid rules, this is why like the control, it makes it seem like it's going to give me this freedom I want, but it actually ends up hindering you from being able to just fully live how you want to live. That flexibility is just huge. And I think that it allows you to come to journaling then when you truly need to journal. So it's like, it's a habit that is there. I can go to this when I need it, but like, it's kind of like, we shouldn't be taking a vitamin D supplement if we don't have low vitamin D levels. It's like, why would we be doing that? Right. Like, we don't need it. And it's the same thing I feel like with journaling or replace whatever self-development thing. When it's like, if you don't really truly need it in that moment, it's okay to not use it.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're in like we're told so much, like, build those morning routines, do this, do that, do that. But like, sometimes I think this is also why I have to be self-employed, is because I need to have the flexibility. I can't, as soon as someone tells me to sit down at my desk 9 to 5, and that's why I also think the work system is completely flawed, but that's for a different podcast. That like, when we're told to like live these rigid lives, that I need the flexibility. I can't, and I just think being able to be in a position in leaning into the flexibility where you can in life, because I'm very aware not everyone's in my position to be able to sort of work when they want, where they want. But it's like, okay, so if you know that there's elements of your life that are quite rigid and you do have to follow things, where can you increase that flexibility then? Like, what about if tomorrow you don't go to the gym and instead you just wake up and chill on the sofa? Like, what? Nothing bad happens, but actually you've proven to yourself that you know, actually I could do something that's just slightly a little bit crazy for my like normal life. And actually I feel like that gave me more respect for myself when I was able to do that, because I was finally like honoring myself, especially if I was tired, right? If I was during my period or whatever, someday, like, I don't want to go to the gym,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
and there's no need when you understand that true health is actually just having a calm nervous system, then you understand that those moments of pushing yourself for the sake of pushing yourself actually do a lot of harm. And I'm not saying that we can't ever push ourselves. I think both you and I radically love the gym and we love to push ourselves. And there's an element that feels really good about that, but it has to be balanced with I understand the importance of rest and I can honor my body when it needs that. And I'm going to make sure I have enough of that. And when you understand that, it's like, you know, it's kind of like I was telling someone the other day, like, I think one of the healthiest things I did was I started like I got rid of my rigid nighttime routine. Like I have to be in bed by like 9:30. And I just started hanging out with friends, going out to late dinners and like dancing until like 3 a.m., coming home. And you can look at that and be like, you didn't get enough sleep and you're eating late at night and whatever it is. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm in so much joy. Like my joy, my happiness of being with my friends, dancing, just having a wild time over like, or how do I put this? I say trumps. I'll say that it trumps any of the negative health benefits because your joy, your
Yeah.
this energy system, it wants to feel joy, it wants to feel peace, it wants to feel happiness. And so when it comes to wow, I haven't worked out in 2 days and I come home from work and I'm so tired, but I feel like I should work out. It's like, actually, the resting in that moment might be the thing that it actually improves your health because it's helping you de-stress, it's helping you reset so that you don't go into burnout. Because that's disastrous when you just
100%.
make your adrenal glands just like flood your body with cortisol because like, oh, I guess we're moving and we're already high cortisol, but let's keep on going. That's when we really run into issues like amenorrhea.
100%. I even say the same to my boyfriend. Like, yeah, Tom, like you could be loads better at CrossFit, but actually, like there's no need to be, because you spend a couple of weekends like going out, getting drunk with your friends, and actually that is so much healthier than not seeing your friends and instead doing a hella load of workouts at the gym. And it's like finding that balance of like you're not a games athlete, like you don't need to keep training, but actually we want to find that balance.
Hmm. The balance is key. Do you feel like that was a big element of your journey as you eventually got into amenorrhea, you lost your period, and then as you kind of came out of that, do you feel like you had a different perception of what balance truly meant?
Yeah, I think I was very under the illusion that balance meant average and boring. Balance doesn't. Balance just means going for it when you go for it, and then just like chilling when it's time to chill. It's just riding the waves. Balance isn't about constantly having the scales at even. It's just like riding each wave and knowing when to catch the wave and when not to catch the wave is what I
Mm-hmm.
think.
So this is why I'm flow with Chloe and not balance with Chloe. Like honestly, it was because like my mom used to yell at me, balance, it's all about balance, Chloe. And like in my very perfectionistic mind then would try to perfectly balance things. And that in reality, first off, doesn't exist. And that in and of itself is a stressor. And so that's when I really learned in my journey that it wasn't necessarily about balance, it was about flow. How can I flow with this? How can I be more flexible? How can I really just allow myself to kind of oscillate in these many different kind of areas and ways? And that was way better than me trying to always keep the status quo balance, because life does cause us to go up and down and we shouldn't be fearful of those ups and downs, right? I think we do need to learn how to just ride them, and we need to learn what our center is and how to get back to neutral when we need.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
So let's dive into real quick that moment when you got your period back. Okay. Do you remember my question?
Yeah. So how do I how was it when I first got my period back?
Mhm. Like, what do you think? Maybe can I ask a different question just to like kind of modify that a little bit? What energy were you in? Like, what did you kind of learn? What did you embody right when that kind of happened?
Yeah. So when I first got my period back, the only way I can really feel it really describe it was after a stage of sort of going through quite a lot of like spirituality and I guess like embracing that feminine energy. And that is literally the energy I was in. I was in chill. I was in flow. I was in like letting go. I was like, no worries, guys. So like there was no real grind. If any, I'm pretty sure it was like a day after being at the beach, or like maybe I'd worked all day and then I'd gone to the beach in the evening, which was like so unlike me previously because I would have worked and I would have had to go to the gym. And it just felt very like flowy. And I still think that now, like when my period was, and so if you don't know, I'm actually still working on regulating my period because I'm trying to find the flow with CrossFit and loving CrossFit and loving the performance aspect, but also how can I bring that if my life is so go 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 in that one area, it means that I have to pull it back and go with the flow in a few other areas. And running my own business, I do struggle. I'm still working to find that sort of like flowy motion with that. But the time that my period was regular, was a time where I literally was like, yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, we'll go with that. And don't get me wrong, that I was still progressing in areas of my life. Like I'm still that type A person, but I knew when to pull back. Mm-hmm. So rather than waking up and being in the gym at 7 a.m., it was like, oh, actually, what do I want to do today? Oh, I'll go for a walk instead. Or actually, yeah, I'll go to a spin class. Or, oh, I've seen the swimming pool's open. I'll go swimming. And it was just like giving myself those endless opportunities. There was nothing I really had to do. And there was nothing I was really working on myself with. And I remember this was also around the time that I met my now boyfriend that I live with, that I remember being in such a space where I was like, yeah, well, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, no biggie. And I think that whole mentality was like, I remember saying to myself, I'm going to be 110% myself with this guy. And I'm okay if it doesn't work. And that's when I think that's where my body was starting to really work with myself, is because I had fully accepted me. And in a way, I was in a stage where I was excited by who I was. I was like, yeah, I know I'm a bit weird. So let's see if you can handle it. Do you know what I mean? I was like saying that I was excited to see whether he would be able to handle me as my true self, rather than being like, oh my God, and that whole anxious side of things.
Well, I think it is really representative of the work that you did to fully, truly see yourself and to fully, truly honor and love and accept all of you. And that's such another huge part of this journey, is not being afraid to show the bad, the vulnerable, the crazy, the wild, the negative, all of that. It's so important that we can hold space for ourselves to be multidimensional. And especially as women, because we are so everywhere, like we need to feel comfortable expressing those other sides of ourselves. And we often kind of get in this good girl mentality of, we need to just be this way, and I need to eat my salads, and I need to look a certain way, and I need to do my hair a certain way and dress a certain way. And that can be very stifling to the feminine. And so it sounds like you finally went through this, moment of, I'm letting go, I'm going to fully allow me to express. And that feels very safe to your body, which then of course would allow you to finally hormonally kind of get back into shape here.
100%. I think there is such that element of, especially when you even just study the menstrual cycle, like we're meant to be up and down, girls. Like it's like it is literally meant to be. Like when people say, God, you're so up and down, or you're so crazy, or what, it's like, yeah, because my hormones, like, I literally don't even have, it's not like it's even a conscious choice. It happens monthly. And I think even that, just accepting that. So then when the days come that you might have a bad body image day, or you are feeling slightly down, you're not trying to then pick yourself up by trying to improve yourself. You're just like, okay, this is just where I'm at right now. Yeah. And it's a little bit shit, but we know that that's not forever.
You know what I found though in relationships is that a good man loves to be the stability through those times. We think that we're being annoying, that we're just like, we're too over the top. He doesn't like this. But I've asked my partner so many times, because I do get in my, like, I am very here and there. And especially like before my period, I get very emotional. And he's just like, I love that I can be that refuge for you. I love that I can be that stability for you. It's almost like he feels that like protective provider energy of like, I just want to be here for you and help you in this like emotional kind of roller coaster, it seems like, that you're in. So yeah, I've just found that to be like really beautiful, because for me, I used to always think I'm an annoying girl, I'm an annoying woman, and I have these emotions and I have these thoughts. And to finally find a man who can like stand with me in those things and be like, I'm here. No, you express yourself. You're good. You're okay. You're safe. That feels really good.
100%. And I think as well that some guys have like the perfect mannerisms to just bring everything a little bit more, where in my head I might be catastrophizing everything, and then it's just like that groundedness of, like, there was one thing that I was doing with with my, so I run a social media agency as well, and it was an issue with the client, and the way he put things into perspective, he like compared it to how a football manager would manage a team, and I was just like, oh my God, how have you just made something that seems so complicated in my head seem so grounded and normal? And I think that is like, as if you can understand and accept that you're going to have these moments when the times of like groundedness come, especially if you've got that support network around you, when those times of groundedness come, you're able to deal with the ups and the downs a little bit more easier.
100%. 100%. So, wrapping up this conversation here, what would you say was the biggest aha you learned throughout this whole journey? Like the
Letting
aha
go.
moment. What was
Yeah,
it?
it was like, it was letting go.
Oh.
Like, and I always have this thing of saying, just today, see what happens. I say this on Instagram, just try it today. And then, so because I was always so scared about making changes, and I was so focused on what would happen in the future, that actually just bringing it back today. So I would say to myself, just go with the flow, just today.
Mm.
Just eat the food just today. And like tomorrow, I can go back to restricting. I can have a rigid plan. I can do all of that tomorrow. But today, I'm just going to go with the flow. And that has been life changing. And I still use it today. Like, we went to a friend's barbecue and I was like, just today, Chloe, just go with the flow. Just
Mm.
today, just be yourself. Because like, I'm getting a little bit like, you know, when it's like you're going to somewhere and they're not your bestest friends. They're like new friends that eventually will become your best friends, but you're still not 100% yourself around them. And I remember saying to myself, even on the drive over, like, Chloe, just today, just be 100% yourself. And I think just allowing myself to just let go and be myself, and just allow myself to show up how I want to show up in that moment as well. Like, just because I was crazy last week and I was dancing on the tables last week doesn't mean I'm going to be like that today. And just like not putting pressure on myself to be the girl dancing on the tables every week, and just allowing myself to just let go with how I'm feeling. That was like the biggest,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the key. This is the key to life. And this isn't just about amenorrhea recovery either. This is the same in work. This is the same. Like, some days I'm going to have more motivation. Some days I'm going to love meetings. Some days I'm going to hate them. And that is all okay.
But that's the thing. Amenorrhea is just a like symbol of the greater things that are happening in your life. That's why I always say to people, I'm like, it's not about food. I'm like, don't come to me and talk about food, because your issues are not about food. It's about all these other bigger things in life. Like, why are you not receiving life fully? What's your block to fully feeling joy? Oh, you don't feel like you're worthy and good enough. So when you eat a chocolate croissant and it's pleasurable, you go, I don't think I'm worthy of this. And so it's like, it's not really about the food. And yeah, we see it in all different aspects of life. One last question here, Chloe. You and I are doing this body image masterclass live, which is super fun, on August 4th through 5th. Recordings available for any people who can't join us for those calls. But I want to know what makes you most excited about us, like hopping in and like teaching all these women about how to really develop this sense of like body love and just confidence. And we named the masterclass Touchable because it was, I think sometimes we feel like we're untouchable, we're unlovable, we're on like, you know, I can't wear the clothes I want and all that. So this was like, you're touchable. That's the name of the masterclass. So what makes you excited about it?
God, do you know what? I think it's the possibility that people can feel the way we feel now because we felt like them before.
Mm.
I always say, like, I always say to people, I wish I could pick you up and put me in my life for just one day so you can see that this works.
Mm.
And also, this is like to say that this masterclass isn't going to make you love your body every single day, because that's not what's going to
The whole
happen.
point. It's the whole
It
point.
is literally, yeah, like that's the whole point of learning that like flow. And I just feel like how you come from it, and also like my fitness and sort of training background, how that comes from it. I feel like with your energy and like that feminine approach, and then also like backing it up with like, look, we need to fuel ourselves, we need to bring that size. I just think that's like the perfect merge for people, especially people that might follow my account, that are like, a lot of them are athletes or really, really heavy into training. They need that sort of like backing, if you like. Plus we merge that with the feminine and leaning into it and sort of embracing who you are, and that meditation and that mindfulness approach. I just feel like that this workshop is exactly what I needed when I was in recovery.
Yeah, I feel that too. The kind of like, I don't know, I feel like we're going to act as the like big sisters coming in and being like, hey, this is what I've learned through this. And I want to just kind of key into one point that you made, because I think that that is one of the biggest points here, is that this isn't about perfectly loving yourself every single day and every single moment, but this is learning how to hold space for those moments where you're not feeling your best, without the judgment and without you all of a sudden devaluing yourself. I think, you know, I have really good body image. I don't have body image days. And I look back at it and I'm like, it's not that I don't ever go, oh, damn, you're really bloated today. Oh, you feel like kind of really iffy and stuck or whatever. It's not that I don't have those. It's that I go, okay, you feel bloated, move on. It's like you learn how to just go,
100%.
and that doesn't shift and change my life. My friends are still my friends. So I think when you're caught in it, you go, oh, like, oh my gosh, I'm bloated. And you create such a big deal, which only leads to more bloating. And so I like to teach women to how to really soften into that, so that you're not like, your day's not being dictated by how you felt about your body. Rather, you're clear on your intention for the day. And sure, maybe you have some body image things, but it's not impacting you. You can just kind of move on and just let it go. I like what you said there.
100%. Yeah, like rather than looking and going, oh my God, I'm bloated, I need to change this, and this. It's just like, hey, look, I'm bloated. That's a little bit uncomfortable. We move.
And it moves on so quick when you,
Yeah, yeah,
that's the funny thing about bloating, because it's such an emotional thing, is that when you
yeah,
do finally just like relax into it and go, fine, I just accept it, then it goes away.
100%. Yeah, I even find that I'm more bloated around meeting new people. Like, that's
Oh
just because
yeah.
I'm nervous. Doesn't mean I need to lose weight.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. I am very excited to dive into this. This is the first live kind of like co-led thing that I'm doing. And I think it's going to be really powerful to bring both of our experiences together. This is a lovely podcast. Everyone who's listening to this, Chloe is a gem to follow. So do you go by Chloe Hodgkinson, but is it the
Yeah,
period party
yeah.
girl also?
No, yeah. So on Instagram is at Chloe Hodgkinson.
Okay. Okay. And that'll be linked down below and everything. Definitely, you're going to want to claim your spot for our masterclass happening August 4th through 5th. If you're listening to this after August 4th through 5th, 2023, it will still be a recorded kind of like little class that you can buy into. But we're excited for all of those who can join us live. So if you want to be there in our energy and you're listening to this now, definitely make sure you get there. Because that energy is going to be fire. Any questions, send them to me or to Chloe. We're more than happy to answer them for you, but we're excited to teach you guys what we know. And Chloe, I hope you have a wonderful evening. And thanks so much for chatting with us today.
No, thank you for having me.